It's games for the galaxy.
Hello and welcome to Games for the Galaxy. I'm RossTweetsGames and I love video games. Each episode I'll be bringing on a special guest and dropping the absolute bombshell to them that aliens exist. They're going to have to answer a series of questions all about the games that hold a special place in their hearts to help convince our galactic friends that video games are bloody brilliant. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoy this episode, why not consider following the podcast, leaving a comment, sharing it on Blue Sky or Twitter. I'd really appreciate it. And if you think the host is alright, give me a follow on Blue Sky at RossTweetsGames and Twitter at RossTweetsGames. It's still quite early days for this podcast and I'm still working it all out, finding my feet, but I'm having a lot of fun chatting to people about games they love, and I think in a sea of grifters and rage bait, it's just nice listening to real people who love gaming. Today's special guest is Patrick Brickhouse, host of the Retro Blast podcast. Pat and I have been mutuals for a while, previously on Twitter and now on Blue Sky, and he was one of the first people I told about this idea for a podcast, and he was so supportive. If you don't know Pat, he is an absolute joy, such a nice man, and if you haven't listened to the Retro Blast podcast, what are you doing? He has such a great voice, much better than mine, and he is an absolute gaming guru. My suggestion is, listen to this podcast with Pat, fall in love with him, and then go and devour all the Retro Blast episodes. You won't regret it. But enough of my boring voice. It's time to meet Pat and begin episode 2. Hi and welcome to Games for the Galaxy. I'm your host RossTweetsGames, and today I am joined by a retro gaming superfan and host of the amazing Retro Blast podcast, which is very fun to say, may I add. It's Patrick Brickhouse! Yay!
Hey! Hello. Hey, Ross.
How you doing, Pat? You good?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm excited to talk some games with you. And
me too.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I love talking games. So.
I know you love talking games because you've got a podcast about games.
I do.
So, Pat, for anyone that's joining us and they don't know who you are, just give us a little overview about yourself and also of the Retro Blast podcast.
Sure. So, yes, my name is Patrick Brickhouse. Hi, everyone. I am the host and producer of Retro Blast, which is a podcast. And it is a podcast that is a celebration of the very best in gaming, especially retro gaming, because that's what I'm very passionate about. I'm a little bit older, so I grew up playing games in the 80s, like the late 80s and 90s and 2000s, and that's my sweet spot. That's what I love the most. And as I get older, you know, I wax nostalgic a lot more than I used to, and so that's kind of what inspired me to start Retro Blast, and just, you know, talk about these games that are very special that people, you know, or a lot of gamers these days, you know, may miss, and to kind of go over the memories of those games for the people who have played them and celebrate that. And then also introduce younger gamers or people maybe who haven't played these games to these particular games that are very special. I have a different host on just about every time. Some return. I've had a few that have returned several times, but it's a lot of fun. We just spend the entire episode dedicated to talking about one game. So every episode is a celebration of that. So yeah, that's mainly what I do. And of course I'm on Blue Sky, and as you all, those of you who know me probably know, you see me on there quite a bit.
I'll put links to all your stuff in the episode. Yeah. So each episode you focus on a single game. What's the process of choosing that game? Is it just one that you're like, I want to revisit that?
That is a good question, because it's kind of haphazard. A lot of times it's really just kind of, I could go the route of when, let's say if a remake gets announced, I'm like, oh, well, let's talk about the original. But I don't really do that. I'd like to go with my gut, and I like to go with kind of what I'm feeling. And when I talk to my host or the co-host, I always ask them, what are some games that mattered the most to you? And then I'll whittle it down to two games, and we'll do a vote. And that I don't want to go to someone and be like, hey, let's talk about this game. And they're like, yeah, I played it once. I want it to be a game that they love.
They've got to be a super fan almost. Yeah.
Yeah. It's something that mattered to them where they have a story to tell. Like, oh, when I was 7, I played this with my sister, or I remember this game making me cry, or whatever it was. And that's something that I really want to pull out and kind of, I want people to feel like they can go back in time. That's really the main focus, is going back in time and feeling the way that you did when you were younger or when you played these games for the first time. I also do another segment called Retro Blast Memories, which is stories that I have written. There's 2 so far that I have written, and they are audio narration stories. Both of them are events from my life. One's about an arcade that I went to growing up, and the other one's about me obsessively waiting for the Nintendo 64 and getting one. So that's something I love to do. I love writing. And so that's another part of it. And then soon we're going to be coming out with another show or another segment called Retro Blast Rewind, which is a collection of stories from other folks about their experiences, whether it was renting movies from Blockbuster on the weekend or a video store, or going to Toys R Us and buying games. And it's a compilation of those stories and me reading those stories kind of all together. So it should be pretty fun.
I think you've tapped into something really important there, because as great as games are, like when we talk about them, we want to talk about the stories and how they resonate with people. So that's amazing.
So it makes them special.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do want to rewind just a little bit. So in terms of yourself before Retro Blast, were you always interested in podcasting? Because you've got this incredible voice. And
thank you.
I feel like when you were growing up, you were told that a lot. So did that influence you in any way of taking this path?
When I want to say probably by the time I was in high school or college, I had people telling me you should go into radio or go into like broadcasting or something like that. And I remember thinking like, oh yeah, I could be like a disc jockey or something. Yeah. But it just I never did. I didn't really want to, I guess. Like, I don't know if there was really a path there for me. So not really. Like, I don't think at the time I really thought about it past college or anything like that. It wasn't until I want to say probably 10 years ago, I tried to do a YouTube channel. I did that whole song and dance and tried to make that work. And that was a nightmare. So stopped doing that.
Curves, yeah.
And then, over time, people would say, you love when they would talk to me about games, just friends hanging out, they'd be like, you should do something with it. Like you have a lot of passion it takes.
you need to put it somewhere.
Yeah, you need to put it somewhere. And I needed, to be honest with you, Ross, like I do a lot better with a creative outlet. I need something where I can create something. And I was like, I'm not doing YouTube again. I'm not going to stream. I'm not going to chase that. Like, that's too much for me. A podcast I can do. I have the mental capacity for that.
Absolutely. It's almost like you can sort of do it at your own pace, can't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I can I can curate it. I can do it the way I want to. And then the audience that comes to the podcast is, I don't have to like fight for first place. They know what I'm doing. They know the niche and they show up. So I've got my little niche carved.
Absolutely. No, and you're amazing at it, may I add.
Thank you.
I've got another question, Pat, and I didn't prepare you for this one, and it is quite personal.
Oh boy.
I hope you don't mind me asking, but we like to break boundaries here on Games for the Galaxy.
Okay.
Do you believe that aliens exist?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, straight in.
Absolutely, straight in.
Absolutely, talk to me. 100%. What are your theories or beliefs?
That's a really good question. It's a fun question. But I think for many years now, I've believed there is no possible way that aliens don't exist. I don't think that you can live in this world, know what we know how big the galaxy is, know how big the universe is, know how many suns there are and how many galaxies there are, and believe that there is not life somewhere else that is far beyond us and that has been around for way longer than we have, probably hit their apex when dinosaurs were around. Like, I feel like that's just statistically impossible.
Yeah.
And so I would be, it's kind of funny because like if you tell people like, yeah, I believe aliens exist, most people will be like, that's crazy. But I think it's crazy to believe that they don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
if they are that far advanced, we wouldn't know they were here anyway, right? Like, so, or watching. So I think it's cool, to think about. And obviously there's no evidence, tangible evidence that we really have yet, but I'm pretty sure they're out there.
So I'm going to delve deeper into this. Do you have any idea of what you think they might look like, what their planets might be?
Oh, man. I feel like, I don't know. Because I actually like cross my eyes when I try to think about that, because I'm like, would they be humanoid? Would they be like, someone told me, I remember this. I will say this. Someone told me this years ago because we were talking about it. I think we had a few drinks and we were just yapping at each other. And he said, look, man, he kind of put this down and was like, hey, what if there's like a civilization that created, AI or whatever, hundreds of thousands of years ago or millennia ago, and that AI has already created its own society and is already living out there and is way far advanced in its own universe somewhere. Right? Like, and he told me that, and I was like, that is wild. Like, what if there's an ancient advanced civilization out there that is just technology, that is just something that another race built? And that stuck with me for a while. I was like, that sounds pretty crazy. So I believe in stuff like that too.
I guess it's because you can't really, disprove anything, really.
No, you can't. Yeah, you really can't. There's no way. People can't tell you you're wrong because
no. Absolutely. How do they know? Yeah, they don't know.
Exactly.
They don't know. Well, Pat, I do know. I do know. I know that aliens are real. Okay. And not only are they real, Pat, but they've abducted you. How do you feel?
I was wondering what that really strong breeze was.
Yeah. The strong breeze.
Tingly feeling.
That's them. Just sort of breathing down your neck.
That's them. The strong breeze.
Have you not seen them? They're right behind you. They're waving at you.
No, they're too fast.
Oh, too fast.
Slow.
So they're just, darting back and forth. Let me tell you why you've been abducted, Pat. Okay. So these aliens, they're very much like us. They might be created by AI. I'm not sure. But they have everything that we do on their planets, except for one thing. They don't have video games. Now, I know. Can you imagine?
It's a shame.
I can't. Now, when they were stopping by on Earth, because they do like to visit from time to time, they just pop in, they go to Weatherspoons and, check that out. They noticed a lot of people were playing video games and they were like, oh, we want to know all about these. They look great. So they came to me and they said, RossTweetsGames, can you tell us about video games? And I said,
wow,
no. Because there is someone even better you need to ask, and his name is Pat, and he has a really awesome podcast called Retro Blast, and he should be your go-to guy.
So that's Pat, why I feel the breeze. Okay.
That's why you feel the breeze, because I was like, don't abduct me, abduct Pat. And they went, absolutely. They have abducted you, and they want to know all about your favorite games and the stories around them. And the first question they want to know is, what is the first game you remember playing?
Okay, so I know exactly what it was.
Ooh, okay, set the scene.
I'll set the scene.
Yeah.
So I was playing. I told this story in my N64 Memories episode. I was playing with my Ninja Turtle action figures.
Nice. Favorite turtle?
Oh, Raphael.
Good choice.
There's no question. Yeah, it's the only choice for me. But was playing with my action figures and just being a kid. I was probably 4, 5.
Okay.
I think I was
really
4.
Young. Yeah.
I was very young. And my sister came to me and she was like, hey, Pat, she's like, come here. I want to show you something.
Okay.
And I followed her to the other room and I see this little gray and white box next to the TV with a little rectangular controller with 2 red buttons. And she picked it up and she said, watch this. And she turned it on and I see Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt come up on the screen.
Nice.
And she started Mario Brothers. And I just, from that point forward, I was transfixed. Like I was watching her move this little character on a screen and jump on turtles. And from that point forward, I was obsessed.
You were hooked. Yeah.
I was hooked. So she said, do you want to try? And I said, yeah. And then as soon as she put that controller in my hands, I never looked back. That's the first game I ever played. So it was Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. Yep.
I don't
First game
think
I ever
there
played.
could be a more perfect story and a more perfect first game. So,
Literally.
with your sister, so I'm guessing she's older than
Mhm.
you. Do you have
Yeah, I've got
any
two older
other
sisters.
two older? So you were the youngest.
Two older sisters, a younger sister,
Yeah.
younger brother.
And did they? How much older are they than you?
I got my two older sisters are 10 years and 7 years older than me.
Okay.
So this sister was the one that was 7 years older than me.
Mm-hmm. So was it something that they bought with their like pocket money that they've been saving up for?
No. So from what I remember back then when the NES got popular, so this would have been probably like 1980. I want to say like 88, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 87, 88. So the NES at the time, if people weren't there, they don't remember, was as big as like the Wii back then. Like it was, everybody was buying them. My parents bought it because every family they knew was buying them.
So they sort of like bought into the hype.
They were just like, well, yeah, we got to get this. So they bought one. And so that's how we got it. And I had no clue. I was so young. I didn't really
know what it was. Yeah.
It. Yeah. So I didn't even know it existed until she showed it to me that day.
Amazing. And then you started playing and never looked back.
Never stopped.
So you have a fond memory of Super Mario Bros. Then
it'll always be special to me.
Yeah,
always. Super Mario Brothers. I don't go back and play it that much. Like I still play it occasionally, but it is the one. I mean, again, it's the first video game I ever played, so it's. I think special, that everybody should kind of connect with that. Remember the first game you played and go back to it sometime and just remember that, because it does. It takes me so far back to that moment. So I think it's
you get transported back.
Absolutely.
It's the brilliance of video games, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. And retro video games. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Oh, amazing. That's such an incredible story. Love that.
Nice.
Next question is, what game made you cry the most? Do you cry at games a lot, Pat?
So rarely. I am a very emotional person. Right. But something has to really hit me in a certain way. I would say, oh man, there have been a couple that hit me. And they're probably not the ones that most people, I think, when you ask them this question, they'll say, like, oh, The Last of Us made me cry.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, which, yeah, that game is emotional as hell. And I love that game. But there are two that stand out to me. One is going to be Ocarina of Time.
Amazing. Okay.
Actually,
should we delve into that before you say the second one?
Sure.
Okay.
Ocarina of Time was a very important game to me. I was like 14 years old when it came out. I was obsessed. I was writing letters to Nintendo Power about it. Like I was so excited for Ocarina of Time. I was a super fan. And so that whole experience playing that game was great. And so by the time it was over and you get to that final screen where, young Link walks up to Zelda and the screen goes gold, I cried. Like I remember just like kind of getting emotional and being like, oh my God, that was like, I don't want to leave. Like I don't want to leave.
Okay.
This
So
game.
it was almost not tears of complete sadness, but tears of yeah, like
I'm just
like
I don't want to stop. Yeah, I don't want to leave this world.
I don't want to leave. Yeah.
And I had a similar feeling in Majora's Mask, but Majora's Mask was more just like, I'm sad because this game is depressing, right? But it was great. I love it. And the other one is also a little different because of the time of my life when I played it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, what a game.
Shadow of the Colossus is one of my favorite games of all time. I think it is a work of art.
I agree.
And it hit me in a way. I think it was just, again, it was the time I played it. I think I played it around 2009. I had rebought like a PS2 and was like, I really want to play this game. And so I was playing through it and I was going through some stuff in my life at that time. Right. And so it just kind of hit me in a different way. And I think it just kind of was almost like therapeutic. And so it made me emotional and definitely made me like tear up a few times. Yeah. So I didn't necessarily cry at the intended places in a lot of games where they're like, this is sad. I'll feel sad in certain times, but I think it was more so like the way the game made me feel is what made me emotional.
Now, do you know why this is interesting? I don't know if you saw, but I tweeted about this a couple weeks ago. Have you ever seen the film Reign Over Me? with Adam Sandler.
I have, because that's the game he's playing.
That's the game that he's playing, that he uses almost as therapy and escapism in that film. So it's really interesting that, you know, that's actually a really great representation of something that happened to you. Yeah,
someone told me about that movie, and I was like, wait, so he plays that game, and it's like his way of dealing with losing his family in the World Trade Center or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I got it. Like it hit me. Yeah. I was like, yeah, like, of course it did. Like, of course somebody played that game, and that's the reason why that game is in that movie, because someone had the same experience where they were like, that emotional connection. That game just makes you feel stuff.
I think all three of those games, is it Eco, Shadow of the Colossus,
Last Guardian,
and the Last Guardian, are incredible.
Last Guardian about made me cry.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. They're great games. So you've got two there. Is there one that you want to choose, or do you want me to choose for you what your answer will be?
I'll say cry the most. I'm going to say probably let's go with Shadow of the Colossus.
Incredible answer. Such a good game as well. I replayed it last year, and so I'm just going to say my experience with it. I played the PS3 remaster of it, so I never played it on PS2. My first experience with it was watching Reign Over Me, and I remember watching the film and going, that game looked really cool.
That's cool.
But I didn't. They never actually say what the name of it is in the film, I don't think.
You just see it.
Yeah, so it wasn't until like I went on the internet and searched it one day that I found out what it was. So I played the PS3 version, which is basically a HD upscale of the PS2 one. So I feel like I played the PS2 one, but then I did the remaster last year or the year before. So good. Did you play the PS4 Blue Point remake? That's the one. Yeah. They nailed that. They nailed that. It's perfect. Yeah. And it looks incredible, and it plays incredible, and it's just incredible game.
It's just a work of art. That's the game.
It is.
Yeah.
Apart from like when you play it the first time and you see that first Colossus and you go, I don't want to do this. But
that's half those Colossi. I'm just like, I don't want to kill this thing. Yeah,
exactly. Oh, what a game!
Incredible.
Right, Pat. What is a game you didn't think you'd like, but you ended up loving it?
So I had to kind of go back. For this one. I had a couple in mind. But when I was younger, I played a few JRPGs. Like my first one was actually, my first RPG was on NES. It was called Ultima Exodus.
Okay.
And I didn't know how to play it because I didn't understand it. My little kid brain was like, why am I not running and jumping on things?
Yeah.
But Final Fantasy 2 or actually Final Fantasy 4, but they released these 2 in the US. I love that game, but I really wasn't like a huge RPG person growing up. And I remember thinking that everybody was talking about, Final Fantasy 7, like around one time they were like, Final Fantasy 7, this and blah, 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 blah. And everybody was talking about how great it was. Yeah. And I was just like, the graphics are blocky. Like, I don't know. I don't like this. It doesn't have the gameplay I like. When I played it, I absolutely fell in love with it. I think Final Fantasy 7 is
another incredible answer.
It's not overhyped. Yeah. People say it's overhyped, and it's the reason that it's overhyped is because it's one of the best.
Absolutely. I agree completely.
It's incredible. The story, the characters. I ended up loving it. Oh my God, the music.
Yeah.
Everything about it was so good. It made me really start to love JRPGs.
Yeah.
And get into RPGs more. Yeah.
Amazing. So with Final Fantasy 7, I've got to ask a question here. It's a divisive one. Tifa or Aerith?
For Cloud?
For Cloud. Or do you want Cloud and for Pat?
It's tough because they're both awesome.
Exactly.
They're both amazing characters. But if I'm going Cloud, it's got to be Tifa, man.
Okay. Yeah.
Tifa's been by his side since day one.
Amazing. Cool. But for Pat, is it still Tifa? Or is it Aerith?
Sephiroth. I'm just kidding.
It's those locks, man.
I like them both. It's really hard to choose because they're both such good characters.
The whole,
I think.
Yeah, there's great characters throughout the whole game. Again, that's something that I played about 2 years ago for the first time. I played the remake,
the original.
Yeah, I played the remake.
Oh my God, the remakes are so good,
good. But then I was like, I need to play the original, so I went back and played that.
Mhm.
I didn't have any experience really growing up with RPGs.
Nice.
It wasn't a genre that I played, but I got into recently, and oh man, it still holds up. It's still incredible.
It's fantastic.
There's a reason why it's one of the best, as you say.
Oh yeah, I love it.
What game is terrible, but you love it anyway? So it might not be the best critically received game. It might be panned. Other people, poo-poo it, but you're like, no, this is great.
So this one was, I remember it was enormously panned when it came out. And I was like, I don't know, like the review scores were so low. And I was just like, I don't think I ever want to play this. So then I started looking into it. Anyway, the game is Deadly Premonition.
Okay.
I don't know if you've played it.
I've not. Is this a Nintendo game that got re-released recently? I recognize the name.
No. It is. So Deadly Premonition was kind of like a budget game that came out on, I want to say PS3 and Xbox 360.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It got like 2s and 3s, like from IGN and stuff like that. But what's funny is that if you look it up now, it has a cult following.
Right. It's one of those. Yeah.
It's so bizarre. I'm a big fan of the TV show Twin Peaks, and I'm just a big David Lynch fan. And so Deadly Premonition is like playing Twin Peaks. It is really bizarre and weird, and it's like Alan Wake, but way more weird and bizarre and just charming. And I absolutely love that game. It's frustrating. It's got some frustrating moments in it. It's not the most polished game in the world, but it is such a good game to experience, and I recommend it to everybody.
Okay, so just
for sure that one.
Give me a bit more about this game, because I'm intrigued, because I've never heard of it. What's the plot? What's the setup?
Well, have you watched Twin Peaks before?
I've never watched Twin Peaks. No.
So Twin Peaks is a show that's also very bizarre. Like it's about a detective or an FBI agent actually that goes to a town in the Pacific Northwest where a girl has been murdered.
Right.
And the whole town is like shaken up by this, and he's working trying to figure out what happened, and it gets very bizarre and weird and mystical and all kinds of crazy stuff. Deadly Premonition kind of follows that, where someone dies, there's a murder, and you play as this detective who shows up, and he's very much, he's in his car talking into a tape recorder just like the guy from Twin Peaks.
Okay.
And so you show up in this town, and you're just like driving around, and he's obsessed with movies. So as you're driving, he'll just start monologuing to his imaginary friend Zach, who's sitting in the car with him. You never see him, but he'll just say in the 19-something movie, Tremors, the way it was actually inspired by, and he just talks to himself about movies. It's stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really like there was passion put in there. And I think the game not being polished enough for IGN standards back in 2012 or whatever.
Was it a case where there was a great story there, but the gameplay just let other people down, maybe harshly?
I think a reviewer didn't know what they were doing. It just was like, this is trash. Why would anybody want to play this? And then didn't give it the due that it probably deserved.
Shame.
But it's gotten sequels. It's been re-released on Switch. It has a cult following now, and there's a reason for that. It's a really good game.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out, because that does sound sort of up my street. So yeah, maybe that's one I can put on the list.
It's worth just like checking it out and seeing what it's all about. You know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely. Cool. Pat, what game scared you the most?
So there's two.
Okay.
But there is one that I'm going to put above. Like, I know which one I'm going with here, but I will say that to this day, one of the scariest games I've ever played is still Dead Space. Dead Space is incredible.
Yeah.
I played it when it first came out, the sound design, I had a big stereo system at the time when I played it. I'm the kind of person, when I play horror games, I crank the sound big time, and I turn out all the lights.
So it's not headphones, it's surround systems, is it?
Back then it was, yeah. It was, so I had
Yeah.
a big surround system downstairs, and
Nice.
for PC, obviously headset, but
Yeah.
I always crank it. I crank it up because I want the game to scare me.
So you enjoy being scared?
Oh God, yeah. I love horror. It's one of my favorite things. But Dead Space is terrifying, and it's really
absolutely.
good. It's just a really good game.
I need to play the remake. I played the first one when I was probably a bit too young. I want to say about 13, and I did not get very far because it scared me so much.
It is scary.
I got a friend round and I was like, let's play this together because it'll be less scary together. And even he was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want any part of this. And sort of like ran out of the room, and I went, okay, let's turn it off. Let's put something nice on.
Yeah. Absolutely recommend playing that remake, dude. Like, it's
downloaded on my PlayStation, ready to go, but I'm just psyching myself up.
But you got to crank that sound, Ross. You got to crank the sound as high as you can get it.
You're talking to someone that plays scary games without headphones and the lights on.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's so funny because I used to tell people, like, well, you're not getting the intended experience if you don't do it this way. I don't say that anymore. But the one that scared me the most is still to this day, is still Silent Hill 2.
Silent Hill 2, the original.
The original, yeah. And I love the remake is very good, and the remake is scary as hell. But the original, I had never played, because I played it when it came out. A buddy of mine his brother had a PlayStation. We were over there with his girlfriend and another girl who was a friend of hers, and his brother had just bought it when it came out. And was sitting on the bed, and I was like, "Oh, Silent Hill! Like, I've heard of that." So he was like, "Well, why don't you put it in? We'll play it. We'll turn the lights out." So we had no idea what to expect. We just put it in, and I was playing it, and that game, literally, I remember, like, we were all like on edge the whole time. And the girls, more times than once, screamed out loud at certain parts of the game, like only within the first couple of hours, which is as far as I got while I was there. But it creeped me out. I had never played a game like that. I played Resident Evil. I love Resident Evil. It's one of my favorite franchises. Silent Hill, I've gone back and played pretty much everything. But 2 is the one that really made me go like, okay, horror can be like this in games.
It can actually be really horrifying.
It can actually scare me, like not just make me jump, but get into my... It's like, I always tell people there's a big difference in horror when it comes to like Resident Evil is really good at visceral scares, like thrills, like where you jump scares and like going, this is intense. Silent Hill is really good at creeping up your spine and making you feel like something is wrong. You know, like that's why I love it. And Silent Hill 2 does that in a way that I don't think any other game has ever matched. It's still, to me, like the scariest game ever made.
Is there a particular section from Silent Hill 2 that gets you the most?
The part that scared me the most the first time I play it for sure was when you're in the apartment building. Yeah. And you it's the part where you can miss it if you don't look, you can miss it, but it's when Pyramid Head is just standing on the other side of the of the metal grate or the metal fence there.
Sort of like a just subtle scare there. It's like when you notice it, it's like the chills. Yeah,
because I was like, "What is he doing?" You know, he's just standing there looking at me. You know, it scared me so bad. But that was the part that really got me the most, because I was like, "Is he just?" Like, there's no jump scare, there's no sound. Like, he's just standing there.
Just staring. So, is the game broken? Is he okay?
Very much not broken. The game's like, get ready.
We're going to get you later. This is all build up. We're coming for you, Pat.
Yeah. And for that also to be one of the most beautifully told stories and most like it's such a beautiful game and the story is so good. And to make it that scary on top of it, the game's just a masterpiece. But
yeah, as you say, I think there's beautiful moments throughout that game, just sort of sprinkled in all the horror and awfulness.
Yeah,
just enough to keep you going. But
just enough to keep you pushing forward.
But ultimately, here's a scary cake that you're going to eat.
Oh my god, so good.
What game means the most to you? So it doesn't have to be a favorite game, but the memories around playing it make it really special.
So I had to think pretty hard about this one, but I think there's one answer that I can. It's Super Mario 64.
Okay.
So that is definitely the game that means most to me. Well, one of the reasons that I wrote that Retroblast Memories episode about it, it's called A Kid in His N64. Yeah. And that I was 1996 is when it came out. I was 12, right? I was turning 12 that year. I was so excited about the N64 and reading about it, and just, I was having trouble at school. I didn't have a lot of friends. It's one of those things where you're at a weird point in your life. Yeah. And video games were very much like my escape, and they were a way for me to, I say this a lot, but in a way, video games are for kids, certain kids, or when you're growing up, when you feel like you don't have control in your life, they give you that control. They give you a way to control, and they give you a way to win. And when you never do, right?
Yeah.
So that was something that made me love video games so much, and that's kind of what helped me get through a lot of things. And Mario 64, when I saw it, it was like this new dawn of video games for me.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, you mean I can play Mario Brothers and 360 degrees and he can punch and he can. Yeah. And so that was the summer where I did yard work every weekend and saved every penny that I could to do a pre-order. So I pre-ordered the N64 and I pre-ordered Super Mario 64 because it wasn't packed in, and paid it off. And there's a funny story in that episode, but I'll tell you, like, one of the reasons that I remember it so much is the day that I actually got the N64, and I still have my original. I got it the day before release.
Oh, nice. I bet that felt good.
So it was, the reason that it happened is because I pre-ordered it at Toys R Us, and I had a very, I'm neurodivergent, right? So I realized at the time when I was a kid, I didn't know that, but it makes a lot of sense now. I took a phone book outside to our porch and I called Toys R Us obsessively that day. And I called just to ask them if they had the N64 in stock. And they kept saying, yes, we do, but you can get it tomorrow. And I was like, thanks. And I was like, I just want to know if you have it. And eventually they got so annoyed with me calling that they said, you can come up here and get it today.
That's amazing.
So my dad took me and we brought it home, and I had a soccer game that afternoon that had a thunderstorm happen. So I got to go home early. So the stars were aligning for me that day. It was like, then we get home and our TV doesn't take the AV cable, so I couldn't play it. Well, my sister had one in the garage I could use. So it's like everything fell into place. The stars
the pieces
aligned.
were coming together,
So I played Super Mario 64 for like 6 or 7 hours that night.
Yeah.
I played it. So I have a lot of really good memories for that day in general, and also for that game. I loved Super Mario 64. I still do. It is something I will go back to constantly. It just hits a very specific nerve, like a really good one. And so I think, even though it's so hard, when you think about all the games that you love, but I think that one probably means the most to me personally, because it was at a very important time in my life. Yeah.
And as you say, like, paying it off yourself, there's a sense of achievement with that as well.
Yes.
Something you're so excited for, and then it's finally there and you get it. Like
I did this, I made this happen. Yeah.
Like, it makes it so much sweeter, doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just going back, I probably won't put this in the podcast, but it was funny that you mentioned about ringing Toys R Us, because I used to do that with Blockbuster when I wanted to rent a game. And I didn't realize that I was being really annoying at the time. I just thought, because I thought, oh,
you're a kid,
Yeah, and I thought, oh, they'll get millions of phone calls every hour. They won't know that it's the same person ringing.
They won't know it's my voice every time,
and
right?
I used to do it for like the most strange games, like Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and I'd ring and they'd be like, no, it's rented out at the moment, and I'd give it half an hour and I'd be like, has it returned yet?
Has it returned? Can you check the box, please?
Yeah, just check the box. Yeah.
Did someone return it? I need to know.
Yeah, I need to know now.
That's amazing. I love that.
It's great. Pat, what video game character do you have a crush on?
So this was a tough one for me.
Yeah.
This is a tough one for me because I'm one of those weird outliers today where it's like I don't really have a lot of that.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let me think about it. Who would it be? And I was like, Sephiroth. I know we said this before, but Sephiroth's so cool.
Yeah, he is.
I'm just like, all right, like I know my preferences and everything, and that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That man is super cool, and it's hard to not go like this guy.
Yeah.
I think I have a little bit of a crush on this guy.
A man crush. That's okay. We all
total
have them.
man crush.
Yeah. So what is it about Sephiroth?
I mean, how can you beat that hair?
Exactly. What do you reckon he uses?
I think it's really just I want his hair.
Yeah.
Is why.
So it's
like,
not
I just want to have hair like that.
You like him that much.
It's not a case where I want to go out with Sephiroth because he'd probably kill me. But, it's his hair. It's just, I don't know. He's just such a cool character.
Yeah.
That I'm just like, I want to hang out with this guy.
Yeah.
You want
to be best mates.
I'm going to be best mates with Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Just probably not the best idea, but yeah.
Just having a pint with him in Weatherspoons, just kicking back.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I love it.
That's such a good answer, man crush.
I'm sorry,
I didn't even foresee that being a thing. I just assumed people would answer
what makes
it
it fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's such a good answer. Pat, what game have you replayed the most?
Mega Man X.
Okay.
Probably played that game 100 times or more.
100 times or more. Ooh.
I love it. Yeah. That's another one that is in my, everybody has like kind of their top games.
Yeah.
Mega Man X is one of those games that also, again, you'll see a pattern here with me. A lot of these games hit certain points in my life or did something at a certain time that meant a lot to me. I rented Mega Man X. It was probably my most rented game from Blockbuster because I finally got a copy of it later, but I played it. I wanted to rent it so much because I just wanted to keep playing it. I grew up playing Mega Man. I really loved the original Mega Man games. And that was like also kind of my big Super Nintendo transition because I had a Super Nintendo, Super Mario World, all that kind of stuff. But when Mega Man X came out and I played it, I was like, this is really like a huge step up from Mega Man. The graphics, the music, I recorded all of the music with like a little Play School tape recorder.
Amazing.
I recorded over my sister's Michael Jackson tape.
I bet she was thrilled.
She was not, but I would listen to it at night. I'd go to bed and listen to the tracks from Mega Man X before I went to sleep because I just loved it so much. And I still to this day, I'll just go, I'm going to play through Mega Man X and I'll just pick it up and beat it. And
is it a long game?
It can be. If you don't know what you're doing, like if you don't know because Mega Man's all about going from which boss to which boss, like it's rock, paper, scissors, right? So you're going to the boss that has the weakness and there's secrets in the levels. The levels change depending on if you beat this boss, another boss's level may change, right? So like Flame Mammoth, his stage is full of lava and fire. But if you beat another boss before him, a specific boss, it changes all of his level to ice.
Oh wow.
So everything's frozen over it. It makes the whole level change. So it was really cool. It had a really cool story. It was the first appearance of Zero, who's another character I love. And I love that series, that franchise. But the first game to this day is the one that I go back to the most. It may not be the best one according to most people, but I think for me, it's a peaceful thing. I just love going back and playing it.
Incredible. Pat, we don't like to be too negative, but what's the worst game you've ever played?
Okay.
It's hard, isn't it?
It is hard because I know I've played, and I'm a pretty positive person.
Yeah.
I get that. I try to find, I try. There's some games that no matter what I do, they're just,
you just can't get on board with them.
Good. They're just not good.
There's nothing I can do for it. It's not a good game. Yeah.
I had a hot take for this, but I switched it up because I realized that it really was probably the worst game I've ever played.
Do you want to give a honorable mention to the hot take? Or?
Sure. And the reason that it doesn't really count, it's a hot take because it's not a bad game.
Okay.
It's just I hate it.
Yeah.
Because it makes me want to cry, but it's Ghosts and Goblins.
Okay.
For NES. That was the first game. It was the second game I ever played on NES, and it is one of the most brutally difficult games I've ever played to this day. And I hate it. I still have it. I still have my original copy, and I'll just see it on my shelf, and I'll just be like, ugh, like it just makes me upset.
Have you ever tried to go back and play it, or is it just one that you're like, no? Oh, you have, yeah.
We did an episode on it. So we did an episode on it.
Yeah.
We called it Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls because we did Ghosts and Goblins, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and Ghouls and Ghosts for Genesis, Super Nintendo. Yes, I have gone back and played it. It is still one of the worst things ever.
Still not happening.
No. But functionally, is it a good game? Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
But it is brutal. But the worst game I've ever played to this day is Superman 64.
Great answer.
Superman 64.
Right. I want to know the story of the first time you played that game. Were you excited for it?
Yes, I was. I love the idea of being Superman. I thought that sounded really fun. And I rented it from Blockbuster.
Yep.
So usually when I rented a game from Blockbuster, it was a big deal because I was only allowed to get one, and usually it was on a Saturday morning because I I took like karate lessons. So like
Okay.
I would go Saturday morning for class, and my dad would come pick me up, and then sometimes he would take me to Blockbuster on the way home to rent a game.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember going in there and seeing it on the shelf, and I was like, oh my God, like Superman. Like I can play, I can fly around and punch things.
Yeah.
And, yeah. And then
Be
I
the
took
Man
it
of
home,
Steel.
and you spend, as many know who've played it or have seen it, you spend 90% of that game flying through rings with a time limit.
He's worse than
controls are
Sonic
bad.
with those rings.
It's so bad. Ross, it is, people laugh about it. They're like, oh yeah, Superman's bad. But if they haven't played it,
I haven't.
like I encourage them to do so, because you will see what I'm talking about. It is, I don't know. I know there's a story there as to why the developers couldn't make the game they wanted to, but you really just fly through rings and you're timed. And if you don't do it in a certain amount of time, you fail. And that's it. And it's really hard to control. It's just, it's a trash. It is a trash game, but I have a copy of it. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Like I have a copy of it, so I can remember. Yeah.
You can remember not to play it.
I can remember not to play
on the
it.
shelf.
I preserve it, right?
Yeah.
In my home museum.
You go, don't touch that. It's behind a like pane of glass. You're like, no,
no,
don't break that.
No. This is like
That
the equivalent
stays.
of the haunted doll in the little, secondhand shop. They're like, no, don't go back there.
Yeah.
It's Superman 64.
Stay away from that. Superman 64. Yeah, I think that's a great answer. And I've not played it, but I've heard many horror stories. And do you know what? I don't envy you for playing it.
You should play it, Ross. I would love for you to play it and just let me know what you think.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna laugh when you're like, actually, you know what? I kind of love this.
Yeah, that's the type of game that I go, I don't get it. It was a masterpiece. Like I love flying through rings. It's great fun.
I love it. This is what Superman would be doing.
Yeah. What do you think, he's fighting crime? No, don't be silly. He's out there flying through rings.
Lex Luthor's got him flying through rings.
Yeah, that's all he needs to do. All right, Pat, this is a difficult question, but what is objectively the best video game ever? Again, it might not be your personal favorite, but it's one that's clearly a great.
This one is so hard, man.
Yeah.
Like this was the toughest question. It's a really good question, but it's really, really hard to answer. Objectively, the best video game ever. I mean, I have to kind of cheat a little bit and say a couple. And maybe you can help me narrow it down.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm trying to think of games that I've played and gone like, there's no question this is a masterpiece, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say that Ocarina of Time is in there for me.
Agreed. Yeah.
100%. I think for when it was made, and there's a lot of people that might disagree with me, but for when it was made, GoldenEye.
Yeah, that's a great shout.
Was such an influential, and just people don't understand like how insane that game was when it came out on console, like what it did. I would say Halo, the original Halo, was a huge. These are all games that like did a lot for games.
Absolutely.
So those are the ones that hit my head. I do think The Last of Us maybe deserves a spot. Uncharted 2.
Oh, it's a difficult
it's just
one.
it's tough. It's tough, but I would say objectively, oh boy, Final Fantasy VI also. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna say Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger.
I think Chrono Trigger, because that was in my list too. I'm looking here. Chrono Trigger probably objectively to this day is still one of, if not the best games I've ever played.
Okay.
It might be just objectively the best.
Forgive me, because this is probably sacrilege, but I've not played Chrono Trigger. So Pat,
that's okay.
Sell me it. What's it about, and
Ross,
why is it one of the best?
Okay, let's see. So, for one, it is beautiful. It's a beautiful game. It has incredible music. It has characters that were drawn by Akira Toriyama, rest in peace, who created Dragon Ball.
Okay.
The story is wonderful. The characters are all likable and lovable. The combat system is unique in that you can kind of put characters together and have different moves between them. Every battle's engaging. You can essentially, it's a time travel plot. You're going through different periods. You're finding new characters. Different things can happen according to that. You can end the game early
Wow.
If you decide you want to go after the final boss, you can. There's so much mechanically that's still good. I mean, the game came out in the early 90s for the Super Nintendo, and yet to this day, it is still talked about, up with some of the best RPGs ever made. It's one of those games where there are very few games that I would tell people, like, you have to play this before you die, but I think Chrono Trigger is like one of them.
It's on there. That's high praise.
It's on there.
Is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody kind of has their list for that. And I think Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VI. But Chrono Trigger is one that I think everyone, unless you hate RPGs, if you hate JRPGs or RPGs, maybe you won't like it. It's not for you. That's okay. But I think for anybody that even has a passing interest in that, Chrono Trigger is a must play.
Amazing. That is high praise. And so if you're listening to this, Pat's saying, go play Chrono Trigger. Go play it now.
Hopefully they have.
Yeah.
Unlike
hopefully they're not like me, terrible gamers. I'm a gamer.
I would love to hear what you think about it. Like this, that's one that I feel like I always hate to build up games too, because, it's never going to live up to the expectations. Yep. But if you go into it just accepting, like, think about if you were a kid in 1992, 93, whatever, and you were playing this, how it would have hit you then. But I feel like it's still going to have that effect. It's still that good.
So some games, they just have that ability to transcend
longevity.
Time, don't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. That's such a good answer. Yeah, that's amazing. Chrono Trigger. Pat, you have been an incredible guest, but before the aliens put you back on Earth and they go back to their planet, they want you to give them one video game. Now, this video game they're going to take back, and they're going to show everyone on their planet what a video game is, and they're going to go, Pat gave us this, play it, enjoy it. What game is it?
So for a second, I was like, maybe I should give them Ghosts and Goblins so they know not to mess with us, because then they'll figure out what we're capable of.
We're hardcore. Don't mess with us.
No, I won't do that. They were nice to me. They treated me well.
They've been nice, yeah.
They asked me nice questions. They turned up the AC because they know I get really warm.
Yeah.
So I respect that. So I would say, again, this is a really good question. It's really tough, because if I only can give them one, for me personally, I would say maybe I'm going to go with Super Mario 64.
Perfect.
It's just a video game. Like, you can take it and just play it. It's Mario.
There's so much to it. So joyful.
There's so much to it.
Different levels.
Why not? Take this back and just play through it. And then if you don't want to play video games anymore after that, then I can't help you.
Incredible. That's such a good answer. I love it. Pat, you have been amazing. How can people find you, and when do you upload Retro Blast episodes?
So if they want to find me, here's my home address. It is, just kidding. No, so if you want to find me on social media, just obviously I spend most of my time now on Blue Sky. I have migrated there completely. I don't like to jump around, so I do have Instagram and all that, but I don't use it a whole lot. So I would say Blue Sky if you want to interact with the show, which is retroblast.bsky.social. You can find me there. We also have a Patreon. If you want to join the Patreon, that'll get you kind of involved with the show. You can help us choose games as well. And then I would say that's probably the best way to just interact with me. We do have a Discord as well, which if you find us on Blue Sky, you can get a link to the Discord as well to come and join. We're about 300 members strong and growing. So really good community, very inclusive, very safe. If you want to come in and just kind of hang out and talk about video games, that's what it's there for. And we do every couple weeks, we do a 90s movie night. So we all watch a 90s movie. We just watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles this past week. So, but yeah, it's just it's a cool place. So yeah, that's where they can find me. And then as far as the episodes, they do take a while for me to get done. Usually they're monthly. I would like to move that up because they're long episodes. They're close to an hour and a half, 2 hours. But I would say, at least monthly, usually if my schedule permits. The next one should be up within the next couple of weeks.
Perfect. Yeah. So I always think your podcasts are like an event when they come out. It's like
that's how it has turned. And it is everywhere. I think you can get it Spotify, Amazon, Apple, like anywhere you get podcasts, you should be able to get it. So
amazing. Cool. Perfect. Yeah. Well, we're gonna plop you back down onto Earth and let you go.
Oh, there's the breeze again.
So that was episode 2 of Games for the Galaxy. Thanks again to Pat for his time, and make sure you go follow him on all the socials and check out the Retro Blast podcast. You should be able to find links to everything in the episode information. Please check it out. It was such a fun episode to record, and Pat has such a love for video games. It really shines through when he's talking about them. I will say, however, if you thought that when we were talking about Superman 64 being on Pat's shelf like in a museum, I said, it's on his shelf, like behind a pail of glass, then shush, I know it's pane of glass. My brain gave me the right word and my mouth betrayed me. It happens all the time. You're going to hear me do stupid things like that a lot during these podcasts. But if you do notice one, comment it. I'll always find it funny. Thanks again to you for listening. I hope you're enjoying it, and as I said, please let me know what you think. But be nice. My fragile ego can't take harsh criticism. I hope you tune into the next episode, and because you've stayed all this way to the end, here's something you can clip and play on repeat. Games. Goodbye.